Okay, welcome to the first video that's going to be the assembly for the main carriage of the Precision Router 1818 CNC router kit. The first thing you want to do is get out the correct hardware to go ahead and assemble this subassembly of the machine. That's going to consist of 8 quarter 20 flange nuts, 8 quarter 20 T-nuts. It's going to be 8 1-inch 1010 extrusions, which have a 1/4 inch tap thread in them already, ready to go. You're going to need 4 of the short axles, 4 of the long axles. You need 2 of the long axle spacers, 6 of the small axle spacers, 16 bearings, 16 quarter 20 1-inch bolts. And for one of these, you're going to need 4 of the screws with the Acme Delrin nut. So, and the 3 plates are the thin plate here. We have the 3/8 center plate and the other cover plate. This cover plate without the axles we can just set aside for now. We're going to bring back the plate with the axles in it. Now these guys have an orientation. This guy is closer to one side, and that's the top of the unit, so it sits like this in the router. In addition to that, there are 2 features for the axles. One of these has a wide axle slot, the other is a shallow axle slot, which fits exactly. For this first bearing, you're going to set this up so that this is towards the left. For the second bearing, you'll flip it over so it's towards the right, and you'll have a mirrored pair when we get finished. So for now, set this guy down. The wide axle is towards the left. We're then going to take the 080 cover plate, set him down on top, assuring that the holes match and that everything looks good. We're going to take some 1/4 20 bolts, pin these on the outside just to start. Then we're going to flip the whole thing over. Okay, at this point in time we're ready to go ahead and set our bearings and axles in. Pick up a small axle and bearing, set it into place. Same thing with this one. Set him into place. We're going to set all these guys into place right now and just let them be. We're preparing to go ahead and actually install the rubbers behind them when we get in. These guys might be a little snug, but they shouldn't be so snug that you can't easily go ahead and push them into the slots. If they don't go very easily, you stand a chance of breaking these. There we go. So you just might need to file something for a little part, but these guys should fit pretty easy going in. Okay, last one. Okay. So the rubber washers that fit behind the axles go right here, and on the other one it goes right here. So they go in between the outside and the inside of the axle, so that it's always pushing in towards where the rails are going to sit. These little guys, again, fit on the back side. And this is what allows the constant pressure and the automatic alignment of the bearing plates. Let's take this guy and give him a push in there. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to grab the third and final plate. We're going to match up the holes, drop this guy down on top. They're going to sit like that. And for right this second, we can take 4 of these nuts, put these guys on. Okay, so now those are there. We can flip this guy over. We then go ahead and we can fill the remaining holes with all of the 1/4-20 1-inch hex bolts. Once again, we could set him back down, take the other 4 flange nuts, and they totally encase where these bearings go. Okay. From here, the 8 remaining bolts are going to get the T-nuts with the extrusions. So for now, you can just go ahead and hand tighten these just so they're snug. We're going to flip this up and put them exactly in the right position in 1 second. Doesn't matter really the orientation until we get the tool behind them to sock them down. And one thing that's worth noting on these T-nuts, again, there's a flat side and there's an extrusion side where that lip is coming out. You always want to put the flat side towards the bearing plate. Otherwise, when you install this, the lip will actually dig in to the inside of, here it is, the extrusion. You want it to sit flat. So once we have these roughly placed, then we can come back in with our T-nut. Just give these guys a little orientation. These are set up so that the threads are on the outside facing up. It's very easy to tell. These don't really get tapped all the way through, but they're close. You can definitely tell which side has been tapped and which side was not. Flip it over, continue this alignment. Right now you don't have to get too crazy with trying to really get these too tight. This is just a first initial assembly to go ahead and get these guys close. When we put the cover plates on these in the assembly of the 2 plates, you're going to get a much better alignment on exactly where these guys are going. Okay, so that actually makes 1 full bearing. A rail and a rail are going to go through here, and this is what actually allows the whole gantry to be traversed back and forth on the machine. The last piece of this that we're going to add, and this only happens to 1 piece, is we're going to add the Acme nut to this right now. So once again, from the same side, we're going to insert these screws like so, and on this side, this has 4 matching holes. These guys line up, give them a little start hole. Perfect. And we can come in and we set the clutch on the drill nice and low. Perfect. So that is now going to be the drive side of the machine. The Acme screw will actually come in here, engage this nut, and that what causes the X motion on the machine. You need to assemble one more of these just like it without that nut, and this step is complete.